Okay, so before we get into Scribble Jam, right? In 2001, you put out an album with the website HipHopInfinity.
Yeah.
Okay, so was this Moon Thinker or what album was this?
No, HipHopInfinity released another album. I hate saying the title. It's such a bad title. But they released it. So they had HipHopInfinity was this website that no longer, I mean, it shut down like a couple years later, but it was this kind of like collective of underground hip hop music. And they released my first album. I was not in a position to release an album. I had no business putting recorded music on a CD and selling it at that point. I was so young, so green, had such a horrible understanding of how to record, just the mechanics of recording. And that's one of the worst things about the internet, is that very rapidly everybody that had a mic could professionally release product. And I was like right at the beginning of that. And like, I would do anything to scrub that fucking album off of history. Like, it was, everything about it was bad, everything. And in hindsight, it's just one of those things where I'm like, God, I wish I could take that back. So yeah, HHI, HipHopInfinity was the website.
Because I remember seeing this interview with you saying that shit didn't count. The website doesn't count. You're like, shut the fuck up about it. And like, what was it? Just like a bad experience with the website?
It was really more, man, like, I was so excited about the idea of somebody putting out one of my albums. Because I remember when HHI, HipHopInfinity, asked me if I wanted to put out an album, because I won Scribble Jam, or had my success in Scribble Jam, which we'll get to. I didn't win. The first one that I was in. I was in Scribble Jam, and I was kind of like getting some traction across the internet. And I think what happened is I was so shocked, like, oh shit, somebody wants to put out one of my albums? Fuck yeah. And I jumped at the opportunity. And in hindsight, I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to release recorded music. I wasn't a good recording artist. I had no focus on my identity as a rapper. I had no idea how to tell my story or do the things that I can do that I feel are strengths. And it resulted in, and a lot of people have this, man. There's a lot of people, like, not everybody gets to release Illmatic as their first album. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of people out there that wish they could scrub some of their earlier material. And it's just one of those things
for you, right?
Yeah, dude.
Early recordings.
It was just all shit that I like. It was like my first recordings ever, and I had no clue what I was doing. My computer didn't even, like, I didn't even know how to like properly record my vocals or compress them or mix them or gate them or EQ them, or I didn't understand what I was doing. I didn't have an engineer. I learned how to make beats on Fruity Loops and would like use some of those beats. And just in hindsight, like, just everything about it was very like high school, like my first, like, it was like a high school project, right? Like an art project. And it just had no business being sold for money or released to the public. It just does not, it should not exist, but it is what it is. It does. You can't do anything about it.
What were you recording on at the time?
Like maybe a gateway PC with a program called Sony Vegas, which is like, I mean, I had to record in like a low bit rate because my computer wasn't fast enough to handle 44,000 kilohertz audio quality. So I'm like literally like recording like inferior music to terrible beats, rapping about whatever, no idea what songs are supposed to sound like. I'm just fucking, I have a microphone and I'm rapping, and that's what it was. And it was just a collection of these terrible computer room songs that I made. And they came out, and it's like, yeah, man, it was like the worst computer, the worst mic, the
What
worst
mic?
software. Oh God, it was a Behringer B2. It was like I spent $80 on a microphone and recorded my entire first album on it. And
Wait,
it
is
was
this a
like,
condenser microphone still?
I think so. It might have been my first
Oh, so you had the
condenser,
mic preamp still and everything and connected it.
but I didn't even have a preamp. I just plugged the mic in, and I had this like the computer, like whatever, this mic could just, you could plug the mic in to the computer. I didn't even have a preamp. I'm saying it was like
Got
like
you. Okay.
Radio Shack quality mic. I'm like
Right.
recording on that, and then it comes out, and it's just like God, it happens, bro. Everybody has to go through it.
Right. So why the anger towards HipHopInfinity though? Like, did you ask them to not put it out anymore and they didn't oblige, or what was it?
No, I don't. If I've ever said anything in my very long rap career about HipHopInfinity in a negative connotation, it might have been. I would be curious what my reasoning would be like if I could talk to myself then, because this guy was just trying to run a business and release albums, and he didn't. I don't think that he was a malicious person or anything like that. I think that his name was J.C. Graves, and he wanted to, he had this successful website and online store, and he wanted to turn it into a record label, and he released a couple of albums, and mine was one of them. And I think that no, I mean, I have nothing bad to say about them. If I ever have in the past, it must have been from an angry state of mind or something, because I don't have any negative sentiments towards them at all.
Probably more mad about the situation than anything.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
So you knew early on you wanted to be independent and you didn't want to sign with a major. What made you feel that way?
I mean, bro, like the craziest thing about a lot of the early independent artists, because independent is cool now. And
Just a trip.
yeah, bro, like when we were independent, it was because it's the only way you could do it. It's like, you're sitting there going, it's 1999, or it's 2003, or it's 2006. I want to be an artist. I made an album. I like it. I want to put it out. Well, for me in my part of the world and like my genre, like, I mean, what do you go find a record label? Like, no one's going to sign me unless I make like music that, like, I don't know. You know what it was I never felt like a major label would even consider signing me. I was like, if I ever sat in an office with like the like A&Rs and president of a big major record label, they would laugh me out of the office. Like, I just never felt like that was even an opportunity, because so many people now were like, man, I'm fucking independent because of blah, 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 blah. I was like, I was independent because I don't think there was another way to release my music. I was just like, all right, how much does it cost to release 1,000 or to make 1,000 CDs? And you'd get the price. And I'd be like, well, shit, I could save up a little bit of money, get some artwork, have this company press up my albums that I recorded, and then I could go sell them hand to hand, or go to battles, or go to shows and try to hustle them. And it was a big part of the early independent rap was necessity. Rhyme sayers, the living legends, hieroglyphics, nonfiction, Ill Bill, Necro, all of those guys were indie because if you weren't indie, your music wasn't coming out. And I don't want to say that about those guys. Like they had major label opportunities or something. But as far as I understood, the indie movement was a necessity. It was like, you can either do this or you cannot do it at all. And also, though, that never bothered me. I actually liked the idea of I was always attracted to, when I would hear the stories of some of the indie rappers that inspired me early on. Merce is one of my favorite indie rappers ever and is a friend of mine. But the things that I would read would be, he would go out on the streets and walk up to people and sell his album. And I'm sitting there like a broke, 20-year-old kid with like a job pressing up my own albums. And I'm going, wait a minute. If I go sell one of these for $10, this CD that cost me $1 to make, if I go sell it for $10, that's lunch. I can go get some food. I can eat. I can put gas in my car. And I would hear stories of people that would like pull up to cities with boxes of CDs and hustle them. People selling CDs out the trunk. Like, that was always the thing. To me, that was always the dopest shit. I never wanted the big record label, even if I could have had it, which I don't think I could ever got a major label deal. But I never wanted it to begin with, because to me, the coolest thing ever was this idea of not the image of being independent, but the finances, the numbers. Is I'm like, if you sign to a major, you get a 50 cents per album, but I could just go hustle these albums myself. I don't have to ask anybody permission. I don't have to wait. I don't have to sit in the studio. I don't have to go to a studio. I can just have the studio at my house. I can press this shit up myself.
Freedom.
And yeah, man. And it was that, but it was like, it was more just like, to me, I saw that as a much more likely way of being successful than trying to go blow up on a major. It wasn't even, it never even occurred to me that I could be on a major. Like, nowadays, the story is like, stay away from majors. And I'm like, motherfucker, like, I've never even considered going near a major. Like, it wasn't even an option. It wasn't cool to me though. Like, to me, like, I wanted to own everything, sell everything, and that was the only way to do it, in my opinion. Like, and then the big thing was going on tour, figuring out a way, because we started popping here, like me and my friends, like I started kind of popping locally, and I would pull up to shows, I'd get on stage, kick a freestyle, do a song, do a whole set opening for an artist, and then I would go around and hustle albums, and I'd walk out of the fucking show with $500 in my pocket from selling CDs, $200 in my pocket from a party at a college where I would, they would have a little makeshift sound system, and I'd get on stage and, hey, throw this beat on, and we'd start rapping and do a song. And then all the kids would come up with cash. I mean, that was always the thing. It's like, I got it on me, and I made so much money doing that. There's so many rappers out there that try to do it now or maybe weren't successful at that. But for me, I had just kind of instant success when I had albums on hand. Anywhere I would go, I would sell them. I would print up t-shirts. I would sell them. And I was like, bro, like, the money goes right into my pocket. There's no royalty check. There's no split. There's no, you got to pay this guy. I'm fucking hustling and living. Like, it was crazy. So to me, it was like, figure out a way to promote myself, because the more people I can promote myself to, the more cash is coming into my pocket from rapping.
And you always been a fan of like mom and pop spots and like that type of stuff, supporting small business and all that.
To me, that's the only way to do it. To me, that's capitalism. Like, capitalism is not this shit that we have now where there's $70 billion media conglomerates absorbing other $70 billion media conglomerates and like running the government while they do it, and all of the shit that they do now. To me, capitalism is having a business, not a fucking massive corporate power structure that influences elections. I mean, a business. And like to me, like, yeah, like a mom and pop liquor store or a restaurant or something like that, that was always dope to me. Like it was always cooler to me to have a family business that like we just make enough to get by, and we got our clients and we got our customers and we take care of them, and the bills are paid, the lights are on, there's the car's oil is changed. That was always way cooler to me than this like oligarchical fucking mansions and record label, like all the big, the thing that people aspire to be just extreme wealth, extreme success. That was never as attractive to me as indie DIY mom and pop success. I always thought it was more charming. I always liked it better. The last job that I ever had was working for a place called Liquor Store. And it was a liquor store, and it didn't even have a name. It was just liquor store. And I worked there, and it was owned by a husband and wife, and they were old, and their son would work night shifts. And they were balling, bro. Like they were clearing six figures every year off this little ass liquor store. And I worked for them, and I watched them, and I'm like, damn, man, like they're bringing in, 20 grand a month off their liquor store that they run. And like, to me,
and we're talking 20 grand back then.
Back then, exactly. And to me, that's what America, that is the fabric of America. That's the spine of America is mom and pop businesses. It's running a store that takes care of your neighborhood. That's always been charming to me. It's always been my idea of what American capitalism is all about. So to me, that's what it was. It's like, I'll just build this shit myself.